I just interviewed them boys the other night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like how
What
they
was
in
the
Atlanta with the
topic?
Lakers jersey, huh?
What was the topic with them?
Um, just they got a new album coming out on the 4th. Yeah, so we were just talking about the new project, and I know some of them, so we share some stories. Of course, ask them some questions they might not have been ready for. You know.
That's dope. They from here?
From Augusta?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. He looked like an Anthony. Is his name Anthony?
Nah.
They said that they robbed Luda the other day. But he got his car back. Yeah, they stole his car.
Yo, them niggas is stealing them cars and going to the same street. The street that his car was found on, that's where my car was found on.
For real?
Hell yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they said he hopped out and went to the ATM and then they pulled off in his whip. But Luda got his whip back.
Damn.
They took all his shit out of there though, right?
What up, bro?
Yo, it's
At the door?
ridiculous.
Yo,
It's
like,
ridiculous.
What up, bro?
Oh, he already recording.
What up,
They
bro?
go to jerseys though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tough.
I need to know where that court is at.
I forget where that court's at. Somewhere downtown.
Okay, bro.
I like them though, yeah.
Yeah.
They got creative, it's different. You good?
Yeah. I'm straight. I can't wait to get it going, man. I can't wait to
Right.
talk about what we doing. Wellnesslynx sports therapy, man. Let's get it.
Shout out Native Sounds. Look.
Ooh, you feel that chill came through the door as soon as you opened it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, night.
But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Be Safe Podcast. I am your host, B. Cooks. And I am joined by some ladies that are putting in some serious work and looking to spread awareness as far as recovery in the sports industry. Is this for all sports? I just want to make sure I cover everything.
Yes, sir.
All
Any
sports.
athlete.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, ladies.
Sure, my name is Shayna. I'm an athletic social worker at Wellnesslynx.
My name is Tamika. I'm a licensed massage therapist at Wellnesslynx.
But I do want to applaud y'all for being here. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Because y'all could have been anywhere, but y'all decided to be here. So I really appreciate it. So before we get too deep into it, I always want to get to know you guys a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So Shayna, give me a little bit of a backstory on yourself.
Sure. I am a female athlete, which is why I do this work. I come from a single parent home that has gone through many different circumstances that social work has tied me into being able to put myself and my family in a different position from my upbringing, and I'm looking to give that back to up and coming athletes and grow in what I'm doing. I'm loving what I'm doing, and I'm loving that my field is growing. And so I'm just looking to stay hands on and grow with the field and continue to do this work.
That's what's up. So you were you any good?
At ball?
I mean,
because we can ask you.
I
I
I can say you were one of the first women I've played basketball with that I respected their game.
I appreciate that.
I can say that.
I do remember a summer, one of these Georgia summers, because I'm not from here. I am from New Jersey. And,
Shout out Jersey.
I used to come down in the summer and spend the summer and hoop and play ball with Brandon, his brothers, our cousins, and I held my own a little something.
Yeah, you did. So, what about you?
Well, me, I from New York. I came down here a couple years ago, and I actually didn't know what direction I was going in when I got here. This actually just came to me through a process. I was actually going through my own depression and my own issues, and this is why I decided to go on this journey with Wellnesslynx Sports Therapy. My career was cut short due to injury and not knowing the importance of keeping up with the maintenance of your body. I used to down some chicken wings and pork fried rice right before a game, you know what I'm saying? And just go out there and but that's not good. And that's stuff that I had to learn to grow, and my body just wasn't healthy. Even though I had the talent to take me far, I just didn't have the preparation to get me over to the next step. And by me not having that core group, it caused, like I said, like a depression, because I was a star athlete. People looked up to me. Like, my name was all over the paper, and it was like the pressure that I had on me to be so successful. And then when I wasn't,
Right. That's what's you kind of spiraled down there.
It spiraled me downhill from there. And it was like, once I got out of that funk, Wellnesslynx Sports Therapy came to me. It was like, we need to do something and come out here and help athletes like myself, like Shayna, like so many of us go through it. That is like nobody is speaking about it. The mental health aspect of it, the taking care of your body part aspect of it. So that's just where we are right now, and we on this journey to get it up off the ground and get out here and help out the fellow athletes.
Okay, that's what's up. So how did y'all meet?
Through my friend Alicia.
Her friend Alicia was a former teammate of hers, and when we moved here to Atlanta, I guess she found out we were here, and she was already on a women's semi-pro team. Yeah. So she invited Alicia to come out to play, and then I had come on to the team and met her.
Okay. That's what's up.
That's
sensational. That's what's up. And y'all been cool ever since, obviously.
Been cool ever since.
Cool. So I know with both of y'all being from, Jersey and New York, and just being from up north in general, what was that transition like coming from New York to Georgia?
Well, there was no more delis, so that was like my first miss. Like,
right,
not
with the bacon, egg, and cheese at Georgia.
Cheese in the morning with my
the delis at Georgia.
Woo. And then just like every morning back to the car scene, driving to work. When coming from Jersey and going to New York, I got super comfortable with the Metro card and just hopping on the train. Like, that was my hour to get my sleep or get my work caught up on. And, now I'm out here driving. But I have been adapting to the lifestyle here, too, which is a different kind of peace, which I appreciate and enjoy.
Y'all up north, y'all motherfuckers angry. Y'all angry.
That's what they say, but I think I beg to differ.
What, down here with
just
Georgia?
Aggressive.
I think the anger is different types of anger. There's a southern kind of anger
there's a different
towards
type.
Northerners.
Definitely a different type.
But, we take it with but I do love the southern hospitality. Like, there's been a lot of people that extended themselves to us since I've been here, and our networking and who we hang out with and building relationships here are really some wonderful people. And I do love the southern hospitality a lot. So I understand what you mean about us up north.
Look, y'all don't speak to nobody that ain't directly in front of you.
The lifestyle, it's a hustle and bustle.
Yeah, it is a different life, but
yeah, it is.
Leave at 6 a.m., you get home at 11. So if you're not ready to get to it and make it happen right then and there, I got to keep it moving, or you might be in the way.
But y'all will also spend 10 minutes talking about how you don't have time. I ain't got time. But it's like, we've been arguing for 10 minutes. Like, what you mean you ain't got time?
We got time for that, though. We make time for that kind of conversation.
I hear that. That's what's up. So I'm welcome y'all to the South, man.
Thank you.
The weather's better. I'm sure your money goes a little longer on your living circumstances.
Ooh, yes.
Today I think they're at 14 inches of snow right now.
I ain't built for it. I'm definitely not built for it.
I'll take 40, 45 with a shining sun.
Right. Exactly. All day, every day. Right. Shoot. I was just talking about earlier how we shut down when ice hit. You know, hey, it's
I
over
was
with.
here for that, man. I moved here the day before that snowstorm that hit Atlanta, where everybody was driving all into everybody and everything. I couldn't believe what I saw. I came outside, the snow was like literally like not there, and it was like it was like a whole catastrophe. Like it was crazy. I remember that.
People stop thinking. They act like they don't know what to do, know how to
Yeah.
drive, nothing.
But it hasn't snowed since. I don't remember it.
Even if it did, that it won't even count as snow.
I remember I
call
had
it white
moved
rain.
down here for high school. I graduated high school here out in
Really?
Conyers. I did. I was living with my grandparents.
Hold
Came
up.
down
How
here.
did I not know this?
Whew, it was a long story and it all happened real fast. I mean, I got here and my credits didn't really transfer. So when I was supposed
Oh
to
yeah,
be
people
a
be like a
senior-
year behind. Yeah.
Right, you know, I was supposed to be living my best life, like
Right.
going to school for 2 periods and then done chilling. And I got down here, I was in school all day, night school, online class, just to like catch up with the curriculum and still graduate on time. But that was my first snow experience in the South, and like it was all over the news. There was no water.
The city shuts
all
down.
this, like ice, and I'm like, okay, it's happening. They do this, and we had like literally a covered layer.
And I'm sure it was gone by lunch.
And yes, and nobody went to school. Nobody went to work.
Beautiful.
The city was shut down for a week.
Right. They're like, look, it's black ice out. Y'all be safe.
So I said, okay.
Like they don't know about buying no salt.
Nah, it's all
Nah.
love though.
Nah.
So at what point did Wellnesslynx become like a real thing? Because you know there's always like the idea and then it becomes a reality. So at what point in y'all's journey, whether it be you know transferring from you know up north to the south, did Wellnesslynx become a thing?
I would say it became a thing in 2020.
That's
This
what's up.
past year, yeah, it became a real thing in 2020. It was something that I thought about while I was in school in 2018. And I just started going through, connecting with people. And then the more I started to see it involved in the NBA with mental health and, you know, recovery and performance. And especially when I met Shayna, I was like, man, we got to do this. You have the degree. I have the credentials to work on the body side. I was like, man, we have something here where we can change the game. You know what I'm saying? For athletes moving forward. So
For sure. That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's what's up. So let's talk about like the importance of like preventative care for athletes. Like because that's not something that's talked about in anywhere in my, you know, athletic career, you know, growing up. You know, it was always make sure you get your rest, maybe have some pasta before the
They
game.
definitely
You know what I'm
always told you
saying?
to eat that
You know what I mean?
pasta.
Like make sure you drink water. You know, that was it. So like
Yeah.
talk about some of the importance, you know, that goes into like preventive care.
Well, the importance of preventative care is just to make sure that you maintain your body so you can compete longer. Just staying in the game, especially if you're trying to take your game to another level. Why go out there and risk getting hurt? You know, when we have people like myself, like Shayna, that's here to help you take care of that. You know what I mean? So just making sure that you take care of your body, making sure that you are being able and being prepared for maximum performance. That's the importance of preventative care, at least in my opinion. What you think?
I mean, certainly I agree. And along with the mental health aspect, if you look at the top level right now, that's pretty much the biggest trend amongst athletes right now with Kyrie and his recent incidents out in Seattle, even in football. We recently had Chad Wheeler. And, you know, this one is being brought to light, but this isn't the first time. You know, Ray Rice lost his career behind something mental health related. And, you know, before that explosion and you don't know how to react and respond in the moment, the preventative part is seeking out counseling, discussing what's happening in your household, in your mind. What is that relationship like with your teammates in the locker room, and what pressures are you dealing with, you know, a lot of times being the breadwinner in your family, and you know, being that guy or that woman that has to constantly train, constantly put on this face. And at home, you know, it's what do I do? When do I get to relax? Do I
think
get a moment?
that's big, and especially in I would say in the black community, you know, having the conversation is something that doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's always suck it up, keep your
Right.
chin up, don't let
Right.
nobody see you sweat.
Right. Work
You know
hard.
what I mean?
Work
And
hard.
we tend to bottle all of these emotions and have nowhere to put them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we end up lashing out domestically or whatever the case may be, like with Ray Rice or something of that nature. And I definitely think that's important because a lot of times coaches end up being counselors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's at least what I've seen.
Absolutely. And to speak to it for a pause, recently, athletic social workers in the mental health field and having psychologists and counselors on staff for at least starting at the Division I has been certainly growing. I don't think that we're at a place where you can go to any college and have that resource there as you need or as
Right.
you would need even before you get to college. You know,
Right.
we need to meet students where they are as far as, do you know how to write a personal statement? Do you know, how to prepare for your test? Do you know what comes with curfew and being able to volunteer and also being a role model as a student athlete for the generation that's watching you?
Right. Because
so
people
there's so
watching
much.
is bigger than ever. You know, but with social media, YouTube, et cetera, even like some of these big athletes, they become famous so early.
So early,
Right.
right?
You know what I mean? And do they really know how to deal with that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like to really have the camera on you 24/7, 365, and you might not even know how to do algebra.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they're on you because you know how to dribble a basketball. And these kids aren't having the conversations. Their parents don't know how to have the conversation because they're just looking for their kid to be as best as possible or
Right.
have as much exposure or whatever. And the conversation gets pushed to the wayside. And then it's like you wonder why later on that same child may have some form of, for lack of better words, trauma.
Trauma, yeah.
And that's exactly what I was
Depression.
going to say. We were all tying in trauma and how are we dealing with it?
Yeah.
How is it a social outlet? How is it acceptable amongst the community without looking down upon an athlete who is out there working and looking to enhance themselves as a performer to their best of their abilities? So dealing with trauma, we definitely need to be in the field of prevention because
Absolutely.
all of us have a certain amount of trauma. There's no family that doesn't go through some sort of dysfunction,
Right.
some kind of chaos, or someone that needs some kind of coaching or guiding or
Right.
mentorship.
Because there's definitely no
We all
script to
need
this.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no script. Nobody's doing it all the way right or whatever you want to call it.
Right, and I'm not judging how your family or how you do it with your student athlete who's, the top performer, but still, that resource needs to be there. We need that outlet.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I would
to
definitely
continue
agree.
and to maintain and to grow in professional sports, athletic sports, the college level, even younger on the middle school level. There's so many kids at a young age that are taking on so many of the burdens in their households.
For sure.
And that traumatic outlet
And sports becomes, you're right,
I
the
deal
sports
with
is
my
the outlet,
crisis,
it's not the hobby.
Okay, I'm
Right.
just going to shut down, but I can still go to the court. I can still lift. I can still go to my teammate's house and get away from what's going on within my house. But how do you learn how to cope and manage and deal with it the correct way?
Because escaping isn't necessarily dealing with the root of the issue.
Right.
Exactly. It eventually catches up. And then you don't want it to catch up when your next response is to explode.
Right. And that's where, we may make impulse or emotional decisions that may come with negative consequences.
Certainly.
That's what's up. So, so even though we're talking about mental health and preventative care, explain to the people what exactly it is you guys do, and some of your missions, goals, and objectives.
Sure. So Tamika and I, when we partnered together, she was already working on the recovery part as far as physically with the massage.
Right. With the body.
Right? And so mind and body for top performance basically go hand in
Oh,
hand.
for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And so we've incorporated where, you can work out, you can sit with us for a massage and work out whatever it may be, whether it's injury, rehab, or, preventative care.
Preventative care.
And also, we have group therapy where you can be amongst other athletes so that you can identify.
Right,
and
because
learn.
they probably feel alone sometimes, especially if
Right.
you're the athlete.
The athlete.
Right.
There's
You-
not
you
too
may
many
feel
people
isolated.
that are experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing. But with our program that we have designed, they can come to this space and feel safe and be able to express themselves and while they recover their mind and their body.
And feel cared for. I mean, honestly,
Absolutely.
the word is loved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know, when
because
you-
athletes are treated like objects a lot.
A lot. And,
You know,
and when
or a
you
paycheck.
just keep fighting
Paycheck,
through
definitely.
and keep fighting through, and you don't feel like you're understood from the inside, it becomes a burden when you should be in your prime time because you're doing a wonderful thing.
Right, right.
You're living in your talent. You're playing sports. You're performing for others to watch.
And that's the dream for a lot of people.
A lot. Becoming a mentor for so many, So,
That's great. I mean, I like to hear that because, again, like, I can't say it enough. These are conversations that weren't had when I was an athlete. And I'm sure you
Trust
guys
me,
can
then
relate.
not me either.
You know what I mean?
You know what
Like,
I mean? So-
that stuff wasn't talked about. We might have somebody that came from the same walk of life, but they're going to speak from that experience. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Not necessarily how to become stronger or be able to deal with the outside aspect of being an athlete,
I can't tell you just with my short time in coaching that how many players and students that I've had that they have outside issues at home that influence and affect the way they perform, their availability to show up,
Right.
and especially if you're the oldest sibling, right? If you're the oldest
If you're one of many, for sure.
sibling, one of many at home, and your parent has to work.
And a lot of us are in single family households, things of that
Right.
nature.
Coach, I couldn't come to practice because my mom said I had to stay home and babysit.
Right.
Coach, I don't think basketball's for me no more.
Yeah, like, because my mom worked 3 jobs and she
Right.
needs somebody at home, and I'm the oldest, and I got 2 younger siblings, and, all of that.
I mean, I just met someone that had a D1 scholarship, full ride to Syracuse for football, and basically his grandmother got sick with cancer, and the decision was, I'm going to leave this scholarship and come back home to work so I can help pay for medical bills.
wow.
Now what kind of mental things is this young athlete, a young man at 18 years old now coping with? I just left my dream because my grandmother is going through chemo and my family needs me.
Right. So he's forced to not only put his own dream to the side, but take on the responsibilities of the head of household
Right.
before he's prepared to.
Now, had we outsourced or reached to a counseling or a specialist at the program, at the school, we might have been able to say, hey, this resource is available for your family, for funding, for medical bills. Or, we can talk to coach and we can work through you having your trainings and workout down there so you can still work and do what you gotta do. You don't have to just leave, because it was more mental.
Correct.
What do? I don't know what to do, but I know that my grandmother is sick and my family needs me.
Yeah, and I look at, like, it takes a village to raise a child is almost that same aspect. Like, you need, like, those coaches, those counselors, those people that are going to be around your kids when when their parents aren't around.
Right.
When they may make potentially a bad decision, or and we have opportunity to either prevent it, correct it, or and put them on a different path.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, when I say a village, ultimately a teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and even with that being said, let's talk to me about the strengths of, like, being a part of a great team.
That's probably the most important thing that you can do is have a great team around you. We could look at an example of an athlete like LeBron James. LeBron James has a great team around him, and he's had that in place for a long time. And that's why he exudes greatness on all levels. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to not only the sport, family life, being, an entrepreneur, philanthropist, all of those type of things. Right. That was something that, really changed the game for, the perspective on athletes. And I look up to LeBron, and I hope it's a lot of other people that do look up to LeBron too for that, Like I said, you could just look at his team, his friends that he has surrounding him.
Mm-hmm.
They're all, doing good in their professions.
Right.
The medical team that he keeps to keep his body in shape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he has someone that's an athletic social worker that's around him that's keeping his mental together. You know what I mean? Because being in that type of position does come with a lot of, pressures. But, I mean, when you have a strong team and a group of people around you and we're all on the same mission, it's only going to go up from there. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I mean, no discredit to the king, but when you say
I
LeBron,
knew you was
cannot
gonna say
come
that.
around me without saying Michael Jordan. I don't care where we are, what we're talking about, but we don't talk LeBron without talking Jordan.
Nah.
But
It's love.
speaking to a team, that's a great question because, the importance of a team is having great teammates.
Right.
And when you show up as a great teammate, that means you're putting in the individual work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Right,
self-care.
right, absolutely.
I'm not relying on my teammate to make sure I'm doing my job on the floor because there's 5 of us. If we're talking basketball, there's 5 of us out there. I can't rely on you to pick up my weight. I got to carry myself on and off the court so the 5 of us come together, gel as a team, and we're the most successful team because we've done the work to individually be our best selves.
Right.
That's right.
And holding yourself accountable as an individual, makes it easier to transition all of that onto the floor as a team.
All of that.
Right. And I mean, 11 rings, Phil Jackson, he did a lot of meditation. When he went down there and he got Dennis Rodman and brought him onto that championship team before the Spurs wrote Dennis Rodman off, they were meditating. Jordan was having all of his teammates in the house practicing in the dark with no lights off.
Right.
Wow.
But that's what he knew that he needed to get the other 4 on the floor to play at his level.
Mm-hmm.
So he was willing to do whatever it takes to get all of his teammates in that realm of, hey, work on your individual self.
Got
Right,
to.
right.
We got each other.
Right.
Just come together and bring it all together, and it's just going to be greatness from there.
All of that plays into a lot of times we don't get that explanation when it comes to the importance of a team. We always get the short answer like, hey, we need to hang out together. We need to wear a certain outfit when we travel and all of this. When
Everybody play a role.
Right.
We need to hold each other accountable.
Right.
There you go.
You know what I mean? If my players are my girls, if one girl, she's worried about her boyfriend and her social media, I need my point guard or my center to say, yo, like your phone ain't helping me on the floor. I'm trying to go to college.
Right. And I think all of that plays into like what we may know as the simple term is like buying in.
Yeah.
Like to the program, you know what I mean?
Buy
Like
in.
it's like, yeah, you might not like your coach, but he's not a bad coach. You just don't like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you never buy in, no matter what you do on the court, the outcome's not going to be what you want it to be.
Right. Another point to being a great teammate you mentioned right there, being coachable.
Right.
The generation has changed, like less and less these young kids are less teachable, less coachable, and you got 1 or 2 players out there that are really carrying the weight for the whole 12.
And the burden.
Right.
True.
Right.
That's true.
Because if you carrying the weight, that ultimately means you're probably the best 2 players on the team, which means ultimately the outcome is going to fall on them too, or that individual. You know what I mean? When really, he feel like he playing one on 9.
1 on 9. and it doesn't matter how much talent you have at that point, because if all that pressure is on you, you're still not getting the full experience of being a part of a great team.
Because you got the distractions.
You got
Right,
the
so you're stressed
everything
out.
that's
After
going
all that
on.
work, you're 1 and 9 and you're still stressed.
Right. No matter what the stat sheet look like.
No matter what it
Exactly.
look like.
Because you could be filling it up, but if it don't feel good when you go home, what does it mean?
What's the point? And that's what Kyrie was saying in his video. Like, yeah, I come out here, I give it my all. Yeah, I'm out here working. But what about when the work is done and I go in my closed door? How do I feel about me after doing all of that? We watched him for a season putting up 50 points a game, basically taking almost every shot for whole full quarter straight. He was drained. That whole season when KD was out watching him his first season in Brooklyn, he looked mentally and physically drained.
That's how Bradley
majority of
Bill
the
looking
season.
right now.
And
And
now
Bill's
to
looking
play
like that now.
to play devil's advocate a little bit though.
Okay.
I do feel like Kyrie did make some selfish decisions recently. Because when, like, anytime you're a player of that status, that much influence, that much dominance on the court, and you decide not to show up, you're going to be looked at a certain way. Your teammates going to look at you a certain way. Your coach going to look at you a certain way. The fans going to look at you a certain way. Even your competition going to look at you a certain way if you just decide not to show up.
And
I agree with you.
I agree with you. You don't, at that level, make the decision that I'm just not showing up.
Yeah, like that.
Right?
You getting? We would look at it as broke people for, like, you know, you getting paid to show up.
Right. But what he did is he let us into his real life and let us know why it's so hard for him to show up.
I mean, this is the same dude that think the earth flat, or did.
He took it back.
He did. But I feel like he carried Brooklyn in that first year when KD was hurt. You know, and did he get to rest after?
Yeah, because he barely played.
You know? What kind of...
I mean, not to throw no shade, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I think with Kyrie, it does have a lot to do with that, but it has a lot to do with while we're in place too, as far as the preventative care. This wasn't something that just happened overnight to him. You understand what I'm saying?
It probably built up.
This is something that has built up through the years. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So now I can't really speak on his situation because I don't know Kyrie.
Right.
But I can speak like to say that I think that is something that built up over time with him, and that's why we're here to try to help the next generation of student athletes in general, even still professionals, to break this cycle. You don't have to allow everything to sizzle and bubble up inside to where you explode and you can't show up to the gym. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's what happened with Kyrie. He had no outlet for it until it was too late.
And in sports psychology, that's why you have these psychologies letting people know that, hey, it is just as important, if not even more important, to take care of your mind as much as you're building on the physical. So if you're spending, 4 hours putting up 1,000 shots and then in the weight room, but what are you doing for the mental part?
Right, because your body can be as strong as it wants to be, but if your mind is weak, that's what's gonna follow suit. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's being the strongest, the weakest link.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if your mind is weak, yeah, you might be able to bench 1,000 fucking pounds. But if your mind is weak, where does that strength go?
You're going to crumble during competition, man.
Right.
As soon as another person that just lift the same 1,000 pounds as you coming in and staying right in your face, you going to crumble because you're not mentally tough to handle that competition.
Because I'm sure you've all been on the court with that player that, like, you don't even understand why they not dominating.
Yeah.
It's like you got the build. You got the strength. You have the ability, but you weak.
We all learn that.
And it's not physically weak.
When the brain is unhealthy, if there's a part of the brain that's shut down, then something else is shut down.
That's
and then
right.
something else is going to shut down.
Right.
So if you're not maintaining that brain health, then how are you going to maintain everything else that you need to bring to your top performance?
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So, and with all of that, like, so what kind of things qualify you guys to even, jump into this, I don't want to say side of the business. That's not the term I want to use. I want to say it the right way. I guess what kind of things, as far as education wise and things like that, qualify you guys to jump in this realm of recovery for athletes and things like that?
Yeah.
I say experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just being experienced, being athletes, living the life of an athlete. We have direct inside scoop as to how it feels, So I just think, like I said, the experience. Me also with training, going to school, learning about the body a little bit more. You going to school, learning about the mental health aspect of it, just putting it all together. I think with this team that we were just talking about, it's a super duo that we will be able to go ahead and help out other athletes.
That's fantastic, man.
So when I hear like what qualifies us and what type of things, it takes me back to me needing what I'm trying to put out there.
There you go.
Right,
It takes
right,
me
right.
back to me being that young athlete aspiring to be the first girl in the NBA and being out on the court all day, every day because I didn't have to be home, you know.
Right.
That kid in trauma, in all of that mess, that when I got down and got my ball and got to the court and I was out there with my little homeboys and friends balling all day, I didn't have to worry about none of that. I was good, right? But I didn't have enough. So now through my experience, right, because basketball really is what led me to go to school to begin with, and I didn't know anything other than, hey, you could be a gym teacher, right? So I
They always
started
say
off
that.
with phys ed.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely understand that because you know if it's not the league, then that's the picture that's painted.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
go
not
to
that there's
college,
other
be a
opportunity.
gym
Right.
teacher, you know what I'm saying? And you can be successful.
Or coach high school basketball or something
be
like
a
that.
coach.
But nobody told me that you got to get up for 8 a.m. classes. You got 15-page term papers. Your midterm is going to come up. You know, you got to wash your own clothes. I
Right.
need food on my meal plan. You know, and
For
if I'm going
sure.
to play, there's no time to have a job
No.
because I got to be at practice. I got curfew. I got study
You
hall.
got tutoring,
Yeah,
all
you
that,
got all this stuff, right?
and then you still got to eat
Yeah.
Still
and,
gotta
and
eat.
and have a somewhat of a social life.
Right. And so from there, from phys ed, it just kind of progressed into like what was more of a fit for me. So, you know, all of the credits that I had earned from phys ed transferred into psychology. And now psychology was me studying what I knew but didn't know the educational side. So, you know, we're talking about substance abuse. We're talking about being biracial. We're talking about coming from poverty. We're coming from, you know, a single parent home living on the government now, right? And so now I'm going to school and I'm reading about how these things operate. I'm seeing different researches and I'm seeing, hey, how can I apply? Where do I take this so that I can help somebody else now? You know,
Right.
and psychology wasn't enough, and social work was broader because now I got hands-on in education, hands-on in a hospital, in the medical field, hands-on with all different types of treatment. You know, my first internship, I was working with HIV and AIDS.
Wow.
You know, and I learned so much about serving and helping people, and through the journey and the process, it turned into, this is it now.
Yeah.
You know, apply
here.
it to sports.
Hell yeah, that I like it. I like it. I mean, because we got to find a way to use our life experiences as a way to break the cycle.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
I agree.
Absolutely. You know, yeah.
So, at what point did both of you recognize that there was a need, or even the field was growing in sports psychology?
A lot of YouTube videos.
I was going to say I started seeing it like really trending like once it hit the NBA, because I follow the NBA a lot, and once I seen like Kevin Love was coming out speaking out on it and different things, I was like, you know what, this is it. You know, this is the field that, you know, that needs real attention, because I felt exactly how he felt, and it was like, wow, like I never had an outlet
Right.
to allow
You
none
never-
of this stuff
nobody
to
else
come.
around you that
you
could
know,
speak from that position.
Could speak from that perspective. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So it's like that was really what drew it to me. You know, like just seeing it on a higher platform like the NBA and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah.
That's dope.
We
I think
definitely
for
need
me
to
it
get
was
to it.
like it probably came in. I probably didn't think about it as much in recently, you know, as far as leading up to today. But I think my first exposure to it was like when Will Smith came out with the CTE,
Right.
the CTE.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
I forget what the movie's called, but that was my first, bit of exposure to somewhat of the psychology of being an athlete, like the things that you deal with mentally, you know, that have never been talked about.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that movie caused so much uproar as if they didn't want it to come out. You know what I mean? Like as if the NBA
Right.
didn't, or NBA or the
NFL.
NFL rather, didn't want to be to blame, so to speak. You know what I mean, for
For it,
these
yeah.
athletes having these mental issues outside of their profession.
Right.
You know, and I think they shined a lot of light on it because, like I said, like the conversations weren't had when we was young.
Definitely wasn't.
It wasn't. They weren't. You know what I mean? And I know CTE is more somewhat geared towards like contact to the head and stuff like that, but some of the same symptoms apply to all sports. You know, as far as what you deal with mentally, the thought process, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and yeah, so like that was my first exposure to it, and you know, like shows like Ballers, they do show a different aspect of
really
being
like
an
the way they
athlete.
yeah.
You know, some, and I could imagine why the NFL or these big
Leagues.
yeah kind of look down upon the show a little bit. They try to you know stifle them, you know what I mean, or keep them from putting certain things out there that come with being a professional athlete. You know what I mean? Like people trying to extort you, you know, or women looking to set you up, you know, all kind of stuff like that.
It come with a lot. It come with a lot.
Or your family coming at you with your hand out, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff that you
Before
gonna
you
say
even
their
get
lives.
your first check.
Right.
Yeah. And also, I think the average college student, let's be, you know, in reality, is not coming out with a contract into a professional sport, right? You're graduating from this field that you went and studied and pursued, and now you don't have the experience yet, but you're looking for this job to make ends meet now because you've already been in school sacrificing financially. You know, you've accumulated the debt it is to go to school, and now it's like, okay, I can't settle for this low paying job with this degree. I need a real job. So where do I fit in? And that was kind of my story. You know, I was searching and searching and searching, and I wound up landing a position at a high school in Brooklyn, and it was a school for students with learning disabilities. And they brought me on as a girls basketball coach, the varsity head coach. But the fit went well because of the social work background and being able to work with students. And, you know, I had advocated, I put together like this whole PowerPoint presentation, you know, for my administrative team, my athletic director, and I basically pleaded like, hey, we really need me on board as an athletic social worker because I can't really get the kids that I'm working with to understand plays or to see court vision or to grasp the concept of being a team without being able to give them a little bit of that therapeutic approach.
And that's where that coach and counselor, you know, where that would make perfect sense.
Right.
And you know, the position was shot down. You know, we didn't have the budget.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's like we'd have to create a position.
Yeah.
And so it led me to keep searching, like, well, who does have the budget? Who is doing this? And what I've learned in the APA, the Association of Psychology, was that it was the #1 trending field in the field of psychology. It was the fastest growing, you know, career at that time. And so it just like spread like wildflowers, especially with Division I schools who did have the budget and were in dire need of, hey, we need to keep these athletes healthy for our athletics program. And, you know, studying, hey, what are the qualifications? What are they actually doing? And that's kind of what led me to doing what I'm doing right now.
That's what's up. I mean, and there, like I said, I can't say it enough. There's a need for it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what anybody said. I don't care about a budget. There's a need for it.
There's an essential need. And now, for the first time, we're wearing masks. We've been home. We've been virtually learning. And we're trying to integrate, you know, just getting back into the gym. Just getting back into the routine. I can't tell you how many parents have approached me and said, you know, we went through something like, you know,
whether it be a loss or
They love the sport, but I don't know what happened. They just shut down. They've been in their bedroom. They've been, just watching TV.
But what
just
choices
not
did they have
anymore?
What choices did they have?
Now.
Like they
There's
couldn't.
Fear.
Yeah.
So it's conversation. They need that confidence builder.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the game the other night, Loganville and Jackson County, and the basketball concept was with one team, but the confidence wasn't there. So the team that had less talent was winning, but didn't fulfill the entire time because it only took like 1 or 2 turnovers for them to mentally shut down.
Right.
And then it was turnover after turnover, turnover after turnover. What do I do? And so there's just so much that can be done, that needs to be done. And I just feel like any young athlete can certainly benefit from talking and opening up with somebody that has been through the training to understand and show empathy and compassion and get them to see their strengths and continue to build on who they are as an athlete, as an individual, and enhance their performance.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And even to add another layer to that, both of you are ladies. Y'all are women in this field. You know what I mean? And in the sport of basketball, no matter how you slice it, women are the minority.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be as players, staff, coaches, or as a motherfucking wrecking crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. So, like, I want you guys to at least, like, educate me on the importance of having more women in the field.
Well, that was the first hour of our drive. It
really was.
It really was, and it was a very passionate conversation amongst us. And I appreciate my partner so much because, we respect each other's views and opinions and who we are as individuals, as athletes, as women, and we can bounce those things off of each other. And, women have been fighting for so long, like, Val Ackerman, before the tip-off in 96 for WNBA, she had gone miles to get that to happen. She had been fighting in the sports as a woman for like over 20 years before that tip-off actually happened. And now just being able to maintain it, it's like, we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back sometimes.
Yeah,
it's
it's still a fight.
Us women sometimes feel, when you're talking about the pay, when you're talking about, even as a woman, I still want to be a mother. Am I respected to be able to have that privilege to be a mother, but still be an athlete? There's so much that comes with womanhood in sports. I mean, Tamika shared, experience of just women in the locker room when you first start to go through your menstrual cycle. That is major.
Yeah,
that is major. I didn't even know how to perform or be on the court in those couple of days out of the month in the beginning.
I could imagine. I'm nervous on just being with my daughter when it happens. I couldn't imagine being like her being an athlete as well. You know what I'm saying? Like Pop's like, I don't know if I could hoop today.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't know if is it gonna run down my leg? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, I don't know.
But those are possibilities, man. Like, it could happen.
Could happen, and what all that pressure is on you, and then you starting to deal with these new things that are happening in your body. And the same for boys when they hit puberty, they go through their own thing and they start changing and they're learning themselves and how to deal. Like, it's very hard to just figure it out by yourself.
Because I know my sister, I think, is a great example of like a woman today in sports that's just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Because you both know as women in sports, you get labeled a certain way. Yep. You know what I mean? Even being an athlete, a lot of women get labeled gay or lesbian because they're an athlete, not because that's the actual reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so my sister, her being a straight young lady, has always been assumed to be gay because she likes basketball.
Right.
And she's had to deal with that and not known how to cope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or not how to know how to maneuver with the fact that there may be women on a different program that she on that's trying to get at her, and she's like, I don't know how to deal with this.
We do have to fight through those stereotypes. it could be, yes, the accusation of your sexual preference, or it could be that, you're less than a woman because you don't spend your time with, cooking
Wearing
and
dresses.
taking care of the house,
Right.
Or like how they say, get in the kitchen. You see the comments, like,
Right.
especially with the WNBA, you see the comments that the guys write underneath the post, and it's like, really? Like, we still on that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still a fight to this day, and it's going to be a fight until it change.
And I think that adds a layer to it that men don't necessarily have to deal with.
Yeah.
Unless you live an alternative lifestyle. You know what I mean? When you're the athlete that does live the alternative lifestyle as a male, they a lot of times have to hold it back until they get to wherever they're going. No different than, I think there's been a couple athletes who either didn't have a career or their career was shortened because of their own sexual preference. You know what I mean? And it works that way on both sides. As far as like the mental aspect, I would think.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
There's not many men who openly came out and expressed what their sexual identity was. There's very few. I remember being on a panel back in New York with Jason Williams. And he left the sport after being with the Nets to kind of do that work. I guess he felt it was more important, and he went out and became an advocate for specifically male athletes that are dealing with those mental aspects of, how do I identify? How do I fit in? I love being an athlete, but this is who I am.
Outside of that.
So, yeah, there's definitely need to be more conversation, and it needs to be more fluent and not judgmental or looked down upon, because the social norms, it's growing. For the first time, yes, in a history or social studies settings, teachers are presenting gay rights.
Right.
This is what happened. This was the riots. This was Stonewall. Or, it's acceptable to come from a same-sex household in these younger generations.
Right.
10 years ago, it was not.
Right. Absolutely.
You wouldn't
that's
have
not that
been
long
in
ago.
the locker room saying, like, I'm going home to both my dads or my two moms.
Right.
Where now, you
Shoot, it's on your regular everyday TV programming.
Right. It's very normal to go into a parent-teacher conference and your students' parents are both the same
sex. Right.
Right. But, there's lots to talk, and even we tapped into it, and even with us, there's still more work that needs to be done. Very new, just recently, the Biden administration just made the announcement for transgender sports.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now,
I didn't know that.
Effective immediately, like whichever sex you identify as, regardless of what your biological makeup is, that's the sport you play in. And it's so new that it's tough to speak on,
like
because
it is.
Parents and players and transgender athletes themselves are going to have to openly speak out more.
Even with you saying it right now, I'm on the line already. You know what I mean? Like a part of me, like sympathy is like, nah, F that. You a dude, be a dude. You know what I'm saying? Play with us. Empathy's like thinking about how that would affect that individual. You know what I mean?
And then the other players that have to play with that individual too. It's like a whole thing.
Just speaking about the physical part of it, right? Like, we all know basketball, football, these are contact sports, right?
Right, for sure.
You're coached and you're taught to be aggressive and physical in your athletic sport, in your realm. So, if you're out there as a female with a biological male who respectably identifies as a transgender female, a elbow or a rebound will not be the same.
Nope.
Yeah, it wouldn't, just based off
just
biological
can't. It just
makeup.
can't
Like
be.
It wouldn't.
It can't be. So there's so many other issues and kinks that need to be discussed.
I feel like there'd be a lot of
Yeah,
cheating.
you
that
go
might come out with
boxing
that.
out, man. You go boxing out, you feel something back there that you don't like. Hold on, wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff. It's just stuff that you got to talk about, though.
Right. Because that could
The
be.
locker room, the bathroom.
Because
all of
shoot,
these
it's hard to
things.
play a sport against somebody that stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, you on the court, you guarding that person, like, damn. They pit hot. Like, I'm gonna let you get this bucket. Like, you gonna get this one. I'm gonna just get 2 more after this.
Yeah, so it's.
But even with that, I feel like with the way sports are going and the way we are advocating and trying to get to a place of equality, the need of social workers is just that important and is going to keep growing, because you need somebody that has experience with talking with what your community is going to face, what your family will face, you know, even what your team will face, what your coach is now dealing with. You know, some of these schools get a lot of media and publicity, and how are they going to address that? What are the articles and news clippings going to look like now? What's going to happen? You know, how are you going to protect your child?
Yeah, all of that's a big deal, because I mean, as we said in the beginning, as the player, even if you're not the LeBron of your team or whatever the case may be, being a part of a team like that can be hard to deal with.
Can be very hard.
You could be that role player that, like, look, I ain't used to having this camera flashing in my face all day. Like, I don't know how to warm up, and I got dudes filming me for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they may not know how to deal with that.
Right.
So I definitely get it. Because only the big schools at the college level have that kind of opportunity to even prepare for stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, media training and, you know, things of that nature. Being exposed to having I guess what would be considered maybe a publicist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Depending on what kind of program you're in.
Yeah, there is certainly a lot to discuss with that recent decision. And for me, I would just want to see the discussion go for, you know, the positive benefits of all parties. And right now, I think a lot of people are really struggling with how this decision is going to be beneficial for all parties involved.
That makes perfect sense. I did want to also touch on, of course, you know, Wellnesslynx is not limited to anyone. You know what I mean? It's an opportunity for everybody to apply what you guys offer to their athletic lifestyle. And
Goals 2021. Let's get it.
so, so with 2021 now here, what kind of goals do you guys have set for Wellnesslynx as a company for the year?
Well, beginning of the year, we getting ready to move into our location where we're gonna have our relax and recovery spa, where we're gonna have our treatment room in Marietta, Georgia. So that is the first step for 2021. Getting ready to move there in March.
Okay.
Also continue to build up on our clientele, continuing to get exposure to let people know that we are here for them. And yeah, go ahead.
Also, just letting people know that we're devoted to this work. This is our mission. This is our passion. This is who we are. And I couldn't be passionate the way that I am without knowing how important it is to give this and to serve others. That, you know, it truly is a piece that pretty much prevented me from where sports could have taken me, right?
Yes.
You know, like, I had a shoulder injury, or, you know, I had family issues and all these things. And if I would have had some kind of resource like this, I do truly believe that my path and my journey would have looked a little bit different. And so if I can meet somebody where they're at that's willing to put in the work and be receptive to something like this, to keep you in line of what your path is, you know, keep you from those little side tracks, and, you know, just a lot of networking and branching out. Like, you know, we recently became members of the Applied Sports Psychology Association and have been invited to do a conference out in Las Vegas. And so we're prepping on how we're going to present just the people in the sports field of psychology in general, and, you know, absorb from them what's out there, you know, because sports psychology itself is growing, and
Right.
there's not so much out there. But just to keep it growing, because
growing.
it's not only needed here in Georgia, it's needed in New
New
York,
York,
New Jersey,
Jersey.
California.
Shoot,
People
worldwide.
sports all over
South
the
Carolina,
world.
yeah,
Right,
everywhere.
right.
I've been linking and speaking with the sports psychologist over in Germany, and our conversation has been amazing. And she's been throwing things on me on what student athletes and what their needs are over there, and so just to build and grow and make this acceptable amongst student athletes and in the community and in families, and having parents, making a positive push with their kids, like, hey, you should go get that massage. Make sure you schedule that in. Make sure you make time for your therapy session.
Yep, for
It
your
can be just as
recovery.
important
Yep,
as-
it's
as
just as
putting up that
important.
1,000 shots.
Recovery
Just as
is
important.
key. People need to believe
It's probably
in recovery.
one of the most important pieces to becoming
sure.
an elite athlete and enhancing your performance. So
So
Definitely.
yeah, whatever it takes to get that message going, I truly believe like we're determined, we're devoted, and we're locked in. Like, I've already limited work on where I'm financially being compensated to do this kind of work, because it's that important.
Right. It's
be
that
important.
you got that much passion behind the dream.
absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So like specifically, what kind of services do you offer for those who may be interested?
The massage.
On both sides, whether it be psychology or the massage aspect.
Okay. You want to tell what kind of
Yeah.
different?
Well, we have
Massages?
sports massages. We do compression therapy. We also have cupping therapy. That
I like
enhances.
that cupping therapy.
You like it? You had it done
Because
before?
it
Yeah.
hurts so good. you know what I'm
Everybody
saying?
always says that. It hurts so
You be
good.
feeling
And so,
so good after
yeah,
that,
deep
though.
tissue
Just clean it out.
massages. We work with thorough guns, different things like that, just to enhance your body. To keep you in the game.
What's them leg things everybody
That's the
be wearing?
compression therapy. That's the normal
okay.
leg.
They be looking
Yeah.
fancy. I mean, my
Yeah.
partners that still be hooping, they go hoop and they put their little leg things on.
But it's needed though, especially if you want
they
to try
work.
to stay active. You come in, sit down for about 30 minutes, you good to go. So, but yeah, that's as far as like the body part of the Wellnesslynx. That's what we have to offer as a service.
That's what's up. So what about the mental side?
So we have individual therapy, group therapy. We work with families. We work with teams. We work with youth athletes, teenage athletes, college level athletes, and we'd like to work with some pro athletes as
Absolutely.
Absolutely, that's what's up. And again, I like the direction you guys are going, because
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
as a
Thank you so much.
from as a previous athlete, on the outside looking in, it seems like a lot of people attack one aspect of whatever sport they're in, whether it be like a lot of people are jumping into skills training, like that's over the last 3 years that has been something that's boomed. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like rapping. Like for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like
you're
everybody and
right.
their mama's trying to sports train, individual training, but none of that involves the mental part of the game, and not necessarily meaning on the court.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a lane for what you guys offer, and I'm all for it. I wish you guys the most success I could
Thank
ever put out there. And again, I have to applaud you guys for your hard work on your journey thus far. You know what I mean? And any blessings to come in the future.
Thank you so much.
For
Thank
sure.
you.
And before we get up out of here, let the people know where they can find you at, how they can book your services and things of that nature.
www.wellnesslynx.com. Also on Instagram, Wellnesslynx ATL. We have a Twitter, Wellnesslynx ATL, and that's how you can find us.
Now, is that links with an I or a Y?
Nah, with
That's
a Y.
why.
With a Y.
Wellness LYNX.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And so make sure y'all follow them on all those platforms. Book their services. Please recognize the importance of not only sports recovery and prevention, but also the mental and psychological aspect of being an athlete. And before we get up out of here, as always, Be safe. That was good. I like that.
That was good, big. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. For real,
that
for
was
real.
cool.
That was crazy. That was my first podcast I ever did
Me
in my
too.
life. So
Me
that
too.
was dope.
I'm glad y'all liked it.
Yeah, it was really chill.
Oh yeah. And then you know we can always have another one later. You know,
Yeah, an update.
Touch base in like 6, 8, 9 months something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Alright,
Little
yeah.
update.
For sure. That was good, man. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I like it.